All right. So, can you listen my voice, Dr. C and Dr. Robert?
Boleh, can.
All right. Okay, so
Hello,
here we go.
good afternoon to both. I'm okay.
Hi.
Hi,
All right.
Asrin.
Hi. Okay. So, hi, good evening to our panel, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim, and to everyone that joining our live today. I'm Ifaz Rafi and currently taking Bachelor in Chemical Engineering Technology in Environment and also one of the student representative committee at Unical Mindset. So today I'm a moderator that going to conduct this live along with our panels, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim. We are going to discuss and talk about what is in the future for an environmental engineer. To all who are joining our live now, don't forget to share and blast to your beloved friend and family so that we can gain this more information together. If you have any question to ask our panel, you can drop the comment there. So we have two great people here, which are Dr. Sim and Dr. Robert. One of the panel is Dr. Sim. Dr. Sim is a PhD in chemistry and has very high academic achievement as well as in research, which is represent Malaysia at the annual meeting with Nobel laureates and young scientists in 2015, contribute to academics and scientific research for more than 50 years, formerly an associate professor at a well-known university in Malaysia. She is currently an environmental and waste solution consultant, linking up the government agency and private sector. Dr. Sim is providing a series of waste management and treatment systems for a sustainable operation. Her waste conversion systems are built on the basis of effective, safe and simple concept. The range of waste that she handles include palm oil waste, kitchen waste, organic waste, agricultural waste, and municipal solid waste. By practicing waste to wealth initiative, she strongly believes that humans will be able to achieve the goal of greening the earth. She envisions that she will be able to build a bigger platform to serve more and to help more. So, our next panel today is a Professor Dr. Robert Thomas Benchman, who is one of the lecturers in Unique Mindset that served Unique more than 10 years. He also one of the senior lecturers that professional in environmental engineering section. Thank you, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim, for your time today. So first of all, let's go as for a one-off question that we more discuss about that. Okay, are you ready, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay, so the first question
Thank
that we
you.
will discuss more is the first. What is environmental engineering and why it is important? So what about your opinion, Dr. Sim, for this discussion?
Okay. Thanks a lot, Afi, for your wonderful introduction on me just now. Okay. Actually, environmental engineering, looking at the name, is actually a branch of engineering, and that is concerned more on protecting people from the harm of the adverse environmental effects such as pollution, contaminants to the soil, to the water, to the air, and so on. Yes. So to me, environmental engineering is actually important because it helps to preserve the earth and also to link between the businesses, okay, or the operators and also the environment. So usually for environmental engineers, what we will do by improving the recycling processes, by handling the waste disposal, some water and air pollution control, and even on public health. Yes.
So, Dr. Robert, could you mind to explain about this, more about this?
Certainly not. I don't mind. I think Dr. Sim already has summed it up quite well. And environmental engineering, I think, goes back 100+ years. It has its root in civil engineering. In those days, the society was concerned with providing clean drinking water as well as treating the wastewater that is being generated. And that was part of the civil engineer's job to build and operate wastewater treatment plants. So that is perhaps the birthplace of modern environmental engineering, the treatment of water, both drinking and wastewater, as also Dr. Sim mentioned. This need for clean water and waste disposal, however, is actually older than just 100 years. I think as far back as humans started to settle into cities, when we converted from hunters and gatherers to farmers and traders. That need for clean water has arisen, and I believe there were already people in those days, thousands of years ago, who did environmental engineering related topics. Now, in the 21st century, the scope of environmental engineering has expanded way beyond that wastewater and drinking water. As Dr. Sim also mentioned, the solid waste and the recycling is very much part of the equation, as well as things like air pollution, noise, and light pollution. Yeah, so these pollutants also become quite important, and there are laws also for that. So modern environmental engineers in the 21st century also deal with noise and light pollution in addition to water, solid waste, and air. We also do monitoring of the environment. Yeah? We can monitor air quality, water quality with the classical way, having sensors and collecting samples. But in the 21st century, having satellites up there, satellites that collect data every minute of the day as they orbit, also opens up new avenues for environmental engineers. So if you have heard of remote sensing and geographical information system, these are tools that become more familiar to environmental engineers as well, which we also teach here in UniKL, myself. Environmental laws, they also require companies to come up with environmental impact assessments. If you want to start a new factory, you have to first assess what is the impact of your factory on that piece of land. So there are courses that environmental engineers take that are called environmental impact assessment. So this is also a topic that was not really done 100 years ago, but is very much part of it now. Big companies who are listed in the exchange market, like Coca-Cola, Shell, Petronas, they nowadays have to provide sustainability reports. So with the help of life cycle assessments, environmental engineers, they can evaluate how green are these companies in producing their products. So life cycle assessment is again a quite recent and modern tool that environmental engineers are equipped with here in MySet. And people may have heard of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA. So Dr. Sim also mentioned it's not just the environment that we care about, the environment like at the forest and so on, but we are also caring about the human environment, the work environment. So there are many applications for environmental engineers in terms of health and safety. A modern and emerging topic is also the dwindling resources that we are facing. Our iron, the nickel, the copper, and then of course oil, coal, uranium, gas, all these non-renewable resources are going down. So that forces a rethink how we operate our economy. And there's a shift from a linear to a circular economy on the way, and environmental engineers are very much part of it. How? Like Dr. Sim already mentioned, recycling is one of the activities, as well as reuse and repair and recovery. It's not now about only treating wastewater or drinking water to comply with certain standards, but it's actually also about recovering material from those sources. So these are things environmental engineers are nowadays part of.
So
Yep.
thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim.
So Afi,
So
can I
looking
add
forward
on?
to the maybe some of the input that
Sorry.
taking in the environmental field, which is
Yeah.
like solid waste,
Afik,
water.
Dr. Sim has a
Yes.
question, Afik. Dr. Sim has a
So
question. Not a question, she wants to add
yes,
on a
Dr.
bit.
Sim. Can
Yeah.
Dr. Sim? What is
Yes.
right?
I yes. Actually, following what Professor Robert has mentioned just now, actually he covered a very wide angle of what environmental engineering is. So, what we need to know is, I specifically want to bring up this is like when we start up, okay, when we have a factory to build. So sometimes the operator they do not know what are the types of waste that they are handling, and okay, and also sometimes they do not know how to make the whole their production cycle to be sustainable, okay, and in order to take care of their cost of the production as well as to take care of the waste in terms of their disposal, and also how to make it to be more environmental friendly. So I think all these will involve environmental engineers as well, and that's why it is actually important, especially nowadays and also in the future, when we know that we have to always be very concerned or careful on different types of pollutants before even on the unknown parts of the operational system, and also track them back to their source. So I think all these will make the environmental engineering very important, and not only engineering, it involves also some other portions such as the biologies, okay, such as chemical engineering or soil scientists together to work together, yes, to achieve the same purpose. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Multidisciplinary.
Robert. Thank you, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim. So move on to the next question that we will discuss more. Malaysia looks toward Industry 4.0 to boost productivity growth, with priority initially given to the manufacturing sector, with future plans to extend it to the other sector. I would like to ask point of view from Professor Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim. What is the role of environmental engineer in the Industry 4.0, in which everything will be automated? Dr. Robert, can you explain more about this?
Okay, I'm not the guy with the crystal ball and can look into the future, what will happen. So the Industrial Revolution, IR4, as I understand, is about collecting the data from a factory and transmit the data to, let's say, a server, a software that processes the data and makes them available to the manager, but also perhaps to the client. People can see real time online what is happening in their factory. We have IR4, I suppose, in, let's say, when we do shopping now. No? You can buy things online, and some of the actions are now carried out online, like paying. If we go shopping in the old days, we pay at the counter. Now we can do that all online, which I believe is part of this IR4. For environmental engineers, I think there is still a place and a role in industry. I believe not everything will be automated, and IR4 is just an extra tool in the box to help people make decisions or look at their processes faster with more data being processed. You still need people at the end to monitor a process, and if something goes wrong, you need people to go out there and fix it. And in the foreseeable future, I don't think we have robots clever enough to do that. If new regulations, if new environmental regulations come in, or health and safety regulations, the software and so on, they cannot find the solution on their own. It's still very much human driven. So if we have to improve energy efficiency, if we have to improve the release of pollutants, this still requires trained, highly skilled people, and environmental engineers are these kind of people as well. Of course, there are new jobs as well. Those who study computer science. So for them, there are new opportunities to write programs that help collecting data and make them available online. But for us environmental engineers, there are still people in the factory that need looking after in terms of health and safety. If the process goes wrong or we have to change the process, we still need people. If these machines are requiring maintenance and service, these robots that do certain monotonous tasks, they need people. So I don't think it will be a world where everything is done by machines. Certain jobs definitely, no, but not everything. So it's quite hard to answer, but I eliminate the humans. There's still a role to play in general and for environmental engineers in particular.
All right. How about you, Dr. Sim, for this concern in industry for environmental engineer? So, Dr.
Okay.
Sim, can you give more about?
To me, I like what. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I like what Prof. Robert mentioned just now. It is actually an extra tool to help out the whole industry. And actually, for Industry 4.0, if you follow the trend, there is still involving very high consumption of resources, such as raw materials or information and even energies input, which is still sad to say that environmentally unsustainable. Okay, so that's why if let's say according to your question just now, what is this Industry 4.0? They are focusing more on the production side to increase the efficacy, to increase the maybe the production to shorten the production time and increase the how to say the quality of the product, okay, or to reduce the production time but increase the efficiency and do a lot of digitization and by using the help of the cloud computing, the big data and so on. Okay, but from the environmental point of view, this Industry 4.0 has not reached to a level where they can achieve the environmentally sustainable framework. The framework is not up yet. And in short, there is actually a gap exists between on how to integrate the efficacy that they develop, okay, by the use of different resources or raw materials and even information in how to say in a long-term solution. That means they can actually take care of their efficiency and at the same time take care of the environment. So looking back into this problem, for environmental engineers to step into Industry 4.0, we are a group of experts that can integrate the technologies following the sustainable development goals, okay, to create a more sustainable Industry 4.0 framework which combine their technology and also the environmental protection and sustainability. So that is what I can see in a bigger picture. So, like for example, not only the 3R that Prof. Robert mentioned just now, we may need to also use more R, such as a replacement, okay, and also while increasing the efficacy of the production line, maybe some other eco-friendly innovations will need to step in and be realized in the Industry 4.0. That's why we always say when we achieve another advancement in the technology, we have to always think of how to make it a circular economy to be sustained. That means when the technology is okay over there in the Industry 4.0, how about the environment? How about the waste disposal? How about the whole circular economy in a whole picture? Whether they can combine all together. So if let's say they can combine together, I believe this will be a very heavy role on environmental engineer on this particular part, okay, in the Industry 4.0. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sim and Dr. Robert. So, for the next question, I just want to ask for both of the panels today. If there's a demand for environmental engineer after the pandemic COVID-19, what your opinion, Dr. Sim?
Demand after pandemic?
Yes, demand after the
Is that right?
pandemic COVID-19 for the environmental engineer sessions.
Okay, then maybe I shall discuss starting from the pandemic. We all of us know that the pandemic hit worldwide back in December of 2019. Yes, and actually last year I did some statistics on the unemployment rate, and the worldwide unemployment rate was actually hit a very drastic level at around 7.4% back in August of 2020. Yeah. So looking into Malaysia, I believe every one of us know that the unemployment rate is also very bad. Last year it was around 5 point something percent, and just the past few months, April 2021, we actually still recorded an unemployment rate of 4.6%. So this number shows that the pandemic actually made the economical situation worse right now compared to the previous, right? But anyhow, how is the demand for the environmental engineers? So looking into different types of businesses or different types of manufacturing line, actually different businesses background or manufacturing line also, they will need to sustain, and they will I mean sustain in what I mean sustain is they need to also take care of their production line as well as the environment, and that's where environmental engineer steps in. So to me, the demand will not drop but will increase. And actually, if we refer to the labor statistics back in the state, the demand for environmental engineer is actually climbing up far faster compared to other professions. This is what I know from some of the previous literatures. That's why I don't really see how to say a fall of demand for environmental engineers after the pandemic. It should be getting better because maybe some of the businesses they need to start to find how to fine tune their production or how to utilize a circular economy principle better, and that is where environmental engineer can contribute. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sim. So how about you, Dr. Robert, about this concern?
Yeah, the microphone is on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, there is already a demand, an ongoing demand. Now, it's not like that Malaysia has completely come to a halt during this pandemic. Certain businesses, yes, like tourism, but manufacturing-wise, the basic commodities are still being produced. People are still allowed to go to work. So any manufacturer, food manufacturer or car manufacturer, glove manufacturer, when they produce something, there's always some byproduct. And this byproduct, by law, cannot be simply released into environment. So they have technology in their factories to remove the air pollutants, to treat the wastewater and deal with the solid waste. So while the pandemic is ongoing, the environmental engineer, the classical environmental engineer, has to take care of those items. And many environmental engineers work in the health, safety, environment department of a company. So the jobs are very much ongoing. After the pandemic and in the mid to far future, as I think mentioned by Dr. Sim and earlier also discussed, we are undergoing a transition from the linear to the circular economy, whether we like it or not, simply because the raw materials that we have, many of them are non-renewable, so we have to make do with what we have. So that means reuse, repair, recycle, and all these recovery, all these activities are very much in the DNA of environmental engineers. So I fully agree with Dr. Sim that the roles and the jobs for environmental engineers in the post-pandemic scenario will remain as important, if not become even more critical.
So thank you, Dr. Robert. So before we discuss more about this live today, we will take a break for a while. And to all who have joined this live session, don't forget to share this live. If you have any concern and question, please drop a comment at the chat box. All right, so we take a break for a while. So thank you for brief. So we'll be back to our last session. Before we go for a more further in the question, I would like to ask for Dr. Robert and Dr. Tim. We have a comments on the chat box, which is come from Nur Shahira. She asks, I heard that new syllabus in Form 5 now includes the biomeditation technology. Can you explain how big this technology reputation and demand in Malaysia? So can Dr. Robert explain this?
So bioremediation technology is making use of microorganisms or plants to help clean up a pollutant. So as a matter of fact, if we accept this definition, any domestic wastewater treatment plant is in a way also a bioremediation plant, because we are using in the biological treatment stage, we're using microorganisms to help remove the organic pollutants from our wastewater. I'm working also with people from the palm oil industry, and I believe Dr. Sim as well, very much so. In the palm oil industry, palm oil effluent is generated, and here bioremediation technology is also being deployed. They are using composting of empty fruit bunch together with palm oil effluents to treat the wastewater and create a valuable product, composted EFB that is an organic fertilizer that can be applied back in the field. When you want to treat gases that come out from biogas plants, which there are already many installed in Malaysia, especially treating palm oil effluent. This biogas contains hydrogen sulfide. It's a gas that smells like rotten egg. So we can use, again, microorganisms to convert the hydrogen sulfide into elemental sulfur. So this is also a kind of remediation technology that is being commercially deployed. If you have polluted soil and the demand to convert this soil into agricultural land or into other forms of land, you may or may not be able to use phytoremediation. That means you plant certain types of plant that are very good in taking up metal pollutants. If you have the time, these phytoremediation technologies, they require times. We talk about years. If you have the time to clean up the pollutants, then they can do a very good job. If, however, we need to clean up the soil within weeks, and the pollution goes deeper than maybe the topsoil level, the 30, 40 centimeters, perhaps the removal of the soil and undergoing a physical-chemical treatment is more advantageous. So the use of bioremediation technology is happening in Malaysia, and it depends on the speed at which you have to remediate and the type of pollutants that are involved. I think Dr. Sim has also quite a lot of experience in that. She will give, I believe, also very good examples.
So thank you, Dr. Robert. So we have one more question for the chat room, which is phytoremediation is quite an interesting technology to treat water, but do you think it's the best solution for water issue in Malaysia? So what about your opinion, Dr. Sim, for this concern?
Thank you, Afi. Okay,
Right.
so I believe we followed Professor Robert on bioremediation and his explanation just now quite well. So actually, remediation, when we talk about remediation, that means it is actually a correction onto the pollutants. So when we say phytoremediation, that means we are using mainly plant to do the job. So if, let's say, according to a question, whether it is a good and interesting technology to treat water, definitely it can help. But from my opinion, for water treatment, we actually we can just basically separate them into mechanical method, then chemical way, and also biological way. So to me, not it cannot be only a single method and to complete the job. Like what Professor Robert mentioned just now, phytoremediation, for example, if we want to apply onto the wastewater treatment, it takes quite some time, a long time. So usually we will integrate the methods that we have. We will integrate all together the mechanical method, maybe some chemical and biochemical and biological treatment together to also to treat the water, and at the same time to play with the time frame that we have. So usually wastewater treatment, wastewater source from factory or from a landfill, for example. So they have a time frame for us to play with, and it also it also depends very much on the input of the water. If let's say the water input, the daily water input is going more than tons, and we use phytoremediation on this treatment, then that means that may not be very feasible because the time taken is too long. But the water input, the raw water input is too huge every day. Yeah. So if let's say we talk about water issue in Malaysia, it again depends on whether the water source is on the factory wastewater or the domestic wastewater or the just a simpler the simply river water, also different. So if let's say just domestic wastewater, we will have a water treatment plant and we don't need even phytoremediation. But if factory wastewater, usually the first stage of the wastewater treatment will not involve also phytoremediation. As the main reason being is because it takes too long time. Okay, so usually phytoremediation will be pushed towards the very end of the treatment, where it serves as a final polishing of the whole wastewater treatment before it is being discharged. Yes. So we cannot say it is the best, but it can be one of the option to put on the table when we compile different types of method suitable for different industry to use. Thank you.
And for
Thank you, Dr.
phytoremediation,
Lee.
we also need probably quite a bit of land. So if you are in a city, land availability is also very limited. So it may be also very challenging and costly to have a large stretch of land over which you are spreading your wastewater. But if you're in a countryside and maybe you don't have electricity available or very limited, so land is no problem, energy is a problem, then I guess phytoremediation can become an interesting player. Yeah, it's not a silver bullet. So you have to look at the context and then make your calculations. Does it make economical sense? No? And then make a final decision. I hope we answered Nur Shahira's question. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim. So move on to the next question. I think this is one of the favorite discussion, which is, do environmental engineers make good money? So Dr. Robert, what your opinion for this question?
Well, if you are very clever, you can even become a millionaire. Some people, I mean, I read a story in China where someone started collecting paper, scrap paper, and this person expanded that collection network, and until a point where this person had such a strong network where the money that he was making made him a millionaire. But that is probably more the exception than rule, and I believe that's the case for any kind of job. If you ask a mechanical engineer or software engineer, maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 can tell you such a millionaire story. So what is good money? Good money for me means I can settle my debts maybe in 5 to 10 years time. That's from my studies. I can rent a flat. I can buy food. I can pay bills, utility bills. If I need to go to hospital, I can pay that. I can go on a holiday. I can have a family. Maybe I can even afford a simple car. Doesn't need to be a Ferrari. No? And I can keep some money aside for my children, for their future education. And I can keep some money aside for my pension when I am retiring. So it is depending on our lifestyle as well. Yeah? So if you're looking at the statistics, if I recall correctly, every year or every 2 years, the government does surveys for our graduates in Malaysia. How much do they earn when they join their first job? And environmental engineers, I think they earn, if you're a bachelor, you have a bachelor degree and you graduated, think the average value is around 2,000 plus ringgit. There are some students, some graduates who reported 4,000 ringgit, but this is of again just rare occasions. On average, you can expect 2,100, 2,200 ringgit, and then as you increase your experience, increase your skills, you get more certificates under your belt. You can then either get promoted, or if that is too slow for you and you get a better job offer, you join another company and you increase your salary that way. So this 2,100, 2,200 ringgit is quite similar to many other engineering salaries that bachelor students here in Malaysia can expect. Yeah, this is my
Thank
I think
you.
that's my, I don't know whether Dr. Sim, she has some other data. If you can hear some feedback.
Thank you. Thanks, Prof. Robert, to pass your baton back to me. Okay. So looking at environmental engineers, I believe the personnel should have at least a bachelor's degree in engineering. And if let's say they would like to also provide some consulting services, they may need also some extra professional engineering certification. Okay, that I believe that is what Prof. Robert mentioned just now, to get as many certifications as possible if you need it in your job scope, and that will be very much helpful. So I'm not very sure about the Malaysian market, but I believe a freshman entry into the workforce for an engineer should have at least a 3,000 salary per month, or maybe when they go above the freshman level to the mid level, maybe around 6,000, and some senior position may even hit more than 5 figures. Yes, and also actually good money. I buy very much on the definition of Prof. Robert just now. So that means that I'm happy for you, Robert. You are earning good money, right? Yeah, okay. So actually, yes. Okay, let's talk back on the proper good money. I was in academic line for more than 10 years, and right now I'm on my own. I am actually setting up two consulting firms dealing mostly on environmental solution. Okay, and also working closely with the government agencies such as a veterinary of Perak, okay, to solve some of the critical environmental problems. That's why what I can see is it is actually not good money to make us moving forward, but it is how wide is the coverage that we are able to help the community. So if let's say we are able to help more, definitely the money will be the money in return will be good as well. Yeah, Afi, do you catch me? So that means we as environmental engineer, we love the environment very much and we love our job. We know how to work about with different types of problems, and we know that eventually if we solve the problem, we are able to help the community, and we are able to raise the level of living to another, to another standard. So eventually the money will be good. Definitely, I believe the 1 out of 10 of the millionaire that Robert mentioned just now will increase and improve maybe next time to 3 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. Yes, it depends on how we play about with the environment. Just take my word. The more you serve, the more you help, the more money you will get. Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Sim and Dr. Robert. So I think being an environmental student such an honor for me because I can learn about how to save our precious earth with the advanced technology. Moreover, our equipment inside the lab is really high technology that also used in the industry. So I think this is the biggest opportunity for me to learn to prepare myself in industry later. So as an environment student, I would like to ask for both of our panel today, is it hard to be an environmental engineer? What are your opinion, Dr. Robert?
Is it hard to be an environmental engineer? If you
Yes.
love what you are doing, even if you face hardship, you know it's for a good cause, so you suffer with a smile, if you like. But yeah, it depends on the perception. Yeah? If you like what you're doing, I don't think you will feel it like it's a drag. No? I have to again go to this job and face these people. Uh, if you are having this kind of thinking and attitude, then maybe you are in the wrong job and it's just getting hard. But if what you love, what your you know what you care for is also your job, then I don't think you will feel it. It is hard. You know it's the right thing. You feel you have a purpose. You know, your life makes sense also on that level, and then you don't really feel it. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Dr. Robert. How about you, Dr. Sim, for these concerns?
Actually, environmental engineering is a good is a is a is a good area to go in. I would strongly encourage youngsters like Afiq and you guys, okay, your peers to start to get yourself exposed more to environmental problems, to understand more what the country needs, what the environment needs, what the earth needs, right? Environmental engineering is still considered new in Malaysia, I believe. So education plays a very important role, and I'm happy that Uni KL mindset is taking your step to move forward, especially in this area. So if let's say you have more and more, we have more and more youngsters joining the workforce as environmental engineering. I believe the industry will raise to another level because they are educated and they are educated to understand how important is the environment to the industry, and eventually when they practice this back to the industry, so the um, so it is actually a contribution back to the industry and to convert what is conventional, the conventional way that we carry on with our industry right now, to another level which is more sustainable. Yeah, that's why I think it is very important. It is worth to push through, get more peers, get more of your I mean like youngsters nowadays to understand environmental engineering is not a common engineering. It is really something that it's far greater and far bigger in potential in this industry. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you.
Sim. So we have another question from the comments, which is come from NY Yahya. She asks, talking about circular economy, how can we relate circular economy and solid waste management? How about your opinion, Dr. Robert?
So yeah, solid waste management, the classical solid waste management is very much part of the linear economy, right? So we extract a material, we convert it into product, we use it, and then we end up throwing it away. And there's somebody to collect it and deposit it hopefully safely in a landfill. So this practice in a circular economy will be non-existent, ideally speaking. Yeah? Because everything that we generate needs to be put back into the economy. And that starts with designing products at the beginning that allow us to extend the lifetime of that product if it's possible. And if the product breaks, it must be able to be repaired cost efficiently. And if we have tried our best and we have done repairing and it's not possible to repair it anymore, this product must be able to be recycled cost efficiently. So the the conventional solid waste management will, in my opinion, transform into a service economy where we try to repair broken products. And if the broken product is worn out too much, then it needs to be undergoing material recycling, and the materials need to go back into the manufacturing line to produce new products. So there will be new tasks and new challenges for solid waste management. And that also applies to some extent for organic waste. Maybe now we are throwing our kitchen waste still in the bin that goes into the landfill. I think we have a regulation that requires us to separate the waste, and we want to do composting. It is not being implemented properly, but this is something that will also come, where people either in their own initiative compost their organic waste, or companies like Southern Waste Management, SWM, here in our part of Malaysia, they operate composting plants, or they operate biogas plants to recover energy from the organic waste and then use the anaerobic sludge for organic compost, which then gets closer to the circular economy. So I hope I could answer NY Jaya's question. Maybe Dr. Sim also has something to that. I think she's also very good in that.
Thank you, Dr. Robert. So
Yeah.
how about you,
So
Dr. Sim?
thank you, Robert. Yes, thank you, Robert. Solid waste management, to my understanding, the easiest for us to understand is the landfill management. So that is really a linear economy, and right now Malaysia, I believe, is facing problem with more land being explored just to host the rubbish, okay, the landfill. So that means if let's say we still follow the original, the conventional way of handling the solid waste, and we don't convert it to circular economy, eventually we will use up more and more land. Right now, actually, what we are proposing to the government, the state government over here, is we try to rejuvenate the land. That is also part of how to play about with the circular economy. So I just give you a simple example. Let's say a landfill is really full with the rubbish, okay, with solid waste. And eventually, usually, conventional way is after maybe 50 to 60 years, when all the land's being used up, and also the leachate pond has been full without any treatment, so they will move on to explore or to start up another landfill nearby. Yeah, but then this is not a good solution, especially when we right now know how to play about with the sustainability sides. So how to make it going back to circular economy from solid waste management point of view is we have to at least make the whole landfill as a self-sustainable rotating system. So this self-sustainable rotating system is like we have the input of the solid waste daily, and from there we slowly make it block by block, and eventually it is being circulated again. And during the circulation, we rejuvenate the land. That's why it is not only plainly throwing of rubbish, it is throwing at the same time we have to do the treatment together. So during the treatment, the land will be rejuvenated, the wastewater will be treated, and some other byproducts can actually be useful back to the soil or back to the environment. So that will be harvested. And also some solid waste can also be produced, be processed, okay, further processed into some other byproducts also, which can enhance further as another product to the industry. So that means eventually the waste thrown to the landfill site, for example, is not fully thrown. It may be only thrown and at the same time circulated back to the economy. That's what we consider merging the previous solid waste management into the current circular economy. And that is what we are pushing forward and suggesting to the state over here to try on the landfill in Perak.
Thank you, Dr. Sim. So, for the last question, some perception environment is a second choice in university. What opinion, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim? So, Dr. Robert, can you start first about the
Again,
second choice? The second choice in university for the perception in environment field.
I don't know about that, to be honest. What I know is maybe that people try to get first into IPTAs, and if the quota is full, then they are looking at other options. Yeah, I don't know about second choice.
Maybe
So I
Dr.
cannot
Sim,
answer.
you have extra opinion for these questions, especially for those.
Okay, Afiq, thank you for the question. Before,
All right.
yeah, Afiq, thank you for the question. I would like to know your second choice. What do you mean by the second choice in the university?
Okay,
You mean when the student?
I think some of
Yeah.
the students are looking forward for the another of the chemical engineering, such as in polymer also or the chemical in forensic. But why they do not put the chemical engineering in the first choice for their further in their study?
Okay.
Okay. Uh,
I think
this
this
You have
is
is
to
a
ask.
quite
very
You have
funny
to. You have
question.
to. You have to ask the students who do it. They will know
yeah.
the answer. It's hard to look into
Maybe
their
they
brain.
have not seen. I believe they
Yeah.
have not seen the potential of what
Mm,
environmental engineers. They have not seen the potential of the career as environmental engineer, and also again another very practical question. They have not seen whether environmental engineer can make good money.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes, maybe because of
So
this, and
it's
somehow
education. Huh?
yes.
Like I think some of our members in who are participating here, they mentioned that I don't know Kwan Hai Ho, Christopher Wu. I think they mention things like that as well. A lack of awareness of
Hmm.
what environmental engineering is about. Yeah, of course, can we make a career in this field and so on. So that might be a reason. Yeah.
Yes, that's why education plays a very important part, as well as public awareness by the government agencies or some maybe some individual, how to say, some independent bodies to continue the work about on how and why environmental sustainability is important to keep the country forward.
All right.
When the students know that being an environmental engineer is actually like a warrior to the environment, they may change their perception. Because right now, oh, environmental engineering is still so new that it is not as not very, how to say, maybe to them it's not as high rank compared to chemical engineer or E&E, right?
Become a
Yeah,
doctor and
that's
a
why they may
lawyer.
choose to come over. Yes. So if let's say they know that hey, this is not a proper, it's just not a normal engineer, you are actually a warrior to the country, to the environment. So maybe it's another different story. And some more, the potential is so huge that it is not limited to only a small industry. It is open up wide to the whole market, to the whole industry, because in any different areas, we need sustainability to be achieved,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I think that
All
we
right.
can tie that to one of the questions that was asked in the forum. I think Nur Shahira, she was asking about professional certificates for environmental
Yes.
engineers. I have Googled a bit, and if I may share the screen, I can share. I mean, one of our members, one of the participants has partially answered the question. Share the screen.
Robert, are you sharing screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Are you able to see?
No.
No?
Uploading.
Hang on. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you go to NIOSH,
Yes, got it.
there are professional certificates for safety and health officer. That is very famous, SHO. So if you work in a company in the health, safety and environment department, having that certificate will definitely be a bonus and also improve your marketability and your salary. And there are many, many others, as you can see. Hygiene technician, 1 and 2, noise risk assessor, indoor air quality assessor. Not everything is related to environment, but there's plenty, okay? So we
Yes.
can go
Maybe.
to NIOSH. And then the Department of Environment, DOE, they also have programs for professional engineers. CEPIZO, for example, certified environmental professional in wastewater treatment, in air treatment. So you need to go to the DOE website, and they have a list of professional courses. These courses, they cost around, I think, 5,000 ringgit. You are attending some theoretical courses, so it's a class, and you need to do a project, an industrial project, and you have to present your report to a committee, and if you pass everything, then you become a certified professional engineer in that particular topic, be it scheduled waste management or biological wastewater treatment or air pollution. So there are many certificates out there depending on the need. I hope that helps further to realize the importance of environmental engineers and the amount of professional certificates out there and the demand for it. No, Shahira, is that okay?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Robert and
I
Dr.
have to
Sim.
stop sharing now.
So,
Sorry.
all right. So, Dr. Sim, do you have any activity that student can join that you conduct to the students right now? Maybe
Mm.
any kind of activity that student can join from you
In
Yes.
the pandemic,
in a pandemic.
online,
Maybe a sign online
online
session activity.
campaigns, online campaigns.
Yes. Thank you, Afiq. So actually, currently, you mean students from your campus? Robert, that means from Malacca?
I think
Uh,
maybe open to all of students.
Okay. Okay. Currently, we actually have several environmental protection move. One of it is with a Bentong area where we are guiding the secondary school kids to do some tree saplings. Yes, and eventually bring it back to the to an area near to the river. So that is actually also a collaboration with their river walk project. So that one will involve a lot of students. Yes. And if let's say, for example, some students from KL or from Selangor or even Malacca or even from your campus who like to join into this particular environmental protection move, can contact me. So we will have usually we will have some nursery kits ready for the student, and also we will also allow the student to follow us for several online sessions, at least to understand how and why we need to do such a move. Okay. at the same time to earn some technical skills on the planting of the tree from the seedlings to the saplings and before it is ready to go into the soil. So this is one of the ongoing project. Then at the same time, we are also identifying several sites which we can allow the students to have their so-called really hardcore hands-on exposure over there. So we have identified several, but mostly will be within the para area because I'm more active over here. Yeah. So if let's say the students around this area or even your area, Robert, you can also send the students over here and we will take care of them. But not only sitting in the classroom, most of them would really go into the field. We have animal husbandries. We have some aquaculture industry. We have also landfill leachate pond treatment system. So for them to understand how to play about with the ongoing process and how to improve it back to following, we are applying circular economy principle most of the time. We are trying our best to also educate the younger generation how to look into the current problem and convert it into another better business model so that they can eventually feel their satisfaction over there. Yes. So we have several projects, these kind of projects, which are suitable for students. Some are for secondary students, some are for undergraduates. It depends on the student range because it is still too wide to comment this way. But I would say, just look for me. I will do a good placement for them. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you, Dr. Sim. It's a very interesting activity to fulfill since the pandemic COVID-19. So I think the student can expose more about the environmental engineering maybe. And I hope that this pandemic COVID-19 give more input to all of the students. So we have a last question at the comment box, which is come from Black Lotus. He asked, will mechanization affect the future of environmental engineers? So, Dr. Robert, can you give more opinion about this?
In Malaysia, when we talk about mechanization, a big industrial application is the mechanization of the oil palm industry. What I know, this is at the moment very labor intensive, and most of the laborers are coming from Bangladesh and I think Nepal. So they are international workers who are harvesting the fruit. So the supply of this workforce is under threat, and the pressure to mechanize that industry is therefore very high. So in this particular example that I'm giving, there is no, as far as I'm concerned, no threat to the environmental engineer because mechanization, in my example, is more for, I would say, quite low-skill jobs, jobs that are also perhaps monotonous. So environmental engineers, they are not ordinary factory workers. Yeah, we are multidisciplinary, and we are from a multidisciplinary field. So I don't think that is a big concern for us.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Robert. How about you, Dr. Sim?
Thank you, Afiq, and thank you, Black Lotus, for the question. This mechanization is mainly related to machineries involved in the production, right? So, what I would say is to be an environmental engineer, we don't actually involve too much in looking at the production line. So we will actually take a step backward take a step backward and look into the whole production map, the framework to see how to utilize our raw material well, and also how to handle the waste disposal. That's why even a mechanization involved in this particular production, it will not affect the future or the performance of the environmental engineer, because it is not related to it is not a question of whether we pull in a machine and oh, that's all for all the job. The engineer is the one who actually overlook the whole process and to see how to implement the sustainability concept in the whole production. So that's I don't see any contradiction between these both.
All
Hope we
right.
answered Black Lotus question.
Yeah.
Let Lotus question.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. C and Dr. Robert. So I think we have a last session today, and thank you to all who are joining our session. Hope that you guys gain something useful that can be applied to our future. And thank you, Dr. Robert and Dr. Sim, for your precious time. I really appreciate it. Hope we can get in touch in future and have a good day, everyone. So today is a very such a great discussion. So I hope all of you guys that join our live session gain some benefit information come from environmental technology engineering. So hope to see you guys again and stay safe, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining. Thanks, Dr. Sim,
you,
for your
Dr.
time.
Sim.
Thanks,
Thank
Afiq.
you, Prof. Robert.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Dr.
Afiq.
Sim.
Thanks to
And
all
thank
the
you, Dr. Robert.
participants today.
And good questions as well. Very happy to see that.
Yeah. So thanks, Robert. I enjoyed the session with you.
Jack it up.